Is it sure thing that a Buddha always get misunderstood? For sure it's bound to happen. No other way around it. A Buddha is always going to be misunderstood. If a Buddha ain't misunderstood, then he ain't a Buddha at all. Why's that? Because a Buddha lives beyond the mind while we're stuck in our own heads. Translating something from that beyond into the mind is the hardest thing in the world. Can't be done, though every Buddha's tried. That's just how it goes. No Buddha can dodge it. The Buddha's got to speak the unspeakable, express the inexpressible, define the indefinable. Got to do this wild act because when he goes beyond the mind, great compassion shows up. He sees folks struggling, suffering for no good reason, making their own nightmares, their own hells, and drowning in them. How's he supposed to not feel compassion? And when compassion shows up, he wants to tell him, this mess is of your own making, that you can break free from it, there's a way out of it, there's a place beyond it, life ain't what you reckon it is. Your reckoning about life is like a blind man reckoning about light. Blind man can keep on reckoning about light, but he'll never know the truth. His reckoning might be real logical, but it'll miss the real deal. Light's an experience. You don't need logic for it, you need eyes. Buddha's got eyes, and them eyes come when you go beyond the mind, when you become a witness to the mind, when you reach a higher state than just psychology, when you know you ain't your thoughts, ain't your body, when you know you're just knowing, the energy that sees, the energy that reflects, that you're pure seeing. One time, Buddha was asked, "Who are you?" He was such a beautiful being, and Buddhahood gave him such grace, folks ask him that a lot. Who are you? He looked like some emperor or god come down from the heavens, but lived like a beggar. Again and again they'd ask, "Who are you?" And the one asking was some big scholar. He said, "Are you from the godly realms? You a god?" Buddha said, "Nope." "Then you a Gandharva." Gandharvas are them celestial musicians. Buddha had that music round him, the silence music, the soundless sound, the one hand clapping. So they'd naturally ask, "You a Gandharva, a heavenly musician?" Buddha said, "Nope." And the man kept on asking. There's lots of types in Hindu tales, from gods to regular folks. Finally he asks, "Are you some great king, a ruler of the world?" Buddha says, "Nope." The scholar got annoyed, asked, "Are you a man or not even that?" Buddha said, "Don't be riled up, but what can I do? I gotta tell it like it is. I ain't even a man." Now the scholar's fuming. He says, "Then are you an animal?" Buddha said, "No, not an animal, not a tree, not a rock." "Then who are you?" the man pressed. Buddha said, "I'm awareness, just pure awareness, just a mirror reflecting all that is." When that moment comes, great compassion comes. Buddha said, "Them who know always feel compassion for them who don't." They start trying to help. And first things first, gotta tell folks who are blind that they can have eyes, that they ain't truly blind but keeping their eyes shut. They can open their eyes. They ain't born blind, they've been taught to stay blind. Society teaches them that because it needs blind folks. They make good servants because they always depend on the leaders, politicians, wise men, and priests. They're easy to handle, never make trouble. They ain't rebels. They obey, ready to believe any nonsense from any politician, any priest. And really, who'd want to be a politician except the foolish? And who'd want to be a priest except the foolish? Them's the roles for the mediocre, for the inferior. Them with a complex about feeling inferior become politicians, just to prove they ain't inferior to themselves and the world. Society, the system, wants you blind. From the start it tells every kid, you're blind, conditions every child, you're blind. The whole schooling is a plot against every child to keep them blind. Don't teach them meditation, because meditation's about opening your eyes. When someone finds awareness, compassion naturally comes. They see folks with eyes with built-in abilities to see the truth, who could have been Buddha's awakened ones from the start, suffering. And that suffering's absurd, no need for it. Compassion comes and starts talking, but talking's tough, near impossible. Buddha talks from the peak, while we're down in the dark valleys where light don't reach. He speaks in words of light. By the time they get to you, they're changed. By the time your mind grabs them, it colors them with its own shade. It ain't just about Buddhas. Regular talking seems impossible too. Hubbies can't talk with wives, parents can't talk with kids, teachers can't talk with students. So how's it going to be with Buddhas? Even folks on the same level can't talk, because words are tricky things. You say one thing, but when it reaches the other, It's up to them how they take it. Once, the Queen was traveling in England's far-off lands and saw a man, his wife, and a bunch of kids. Impressed, she asks, "Are all these your children?" "Yes, your highness," the man says. "How many you got?" asks the Queen. 16, says the man. 16 kids, repeats her highness. "We should knight you." "He already is," says the lady, "but he won't wear it." Even everyday talking, the mundane stuff, even in the market, is tough. And a Buddha wants to talk to you about something he's found beyond the mind, when all thoughts vanish, when he ain't even there no more. When the ego's gone, when there's only silence, total peace, and the sky's clear. Now how's he going to put that infinite experience in words? No words enough, so there's misunderstanding. Yep, it's bound to happen that a Buddha always gets misunderstood. Only a few folks get a Buddha, those who are disciples and true believers. A disciple's someone who sets aside their biases, sets aside their thoughts, and listens, not to their own mind's interpretations, but to the words of the Buddha, who ain't arguing,